Okay,
Yes, welcome to Quiet in the Back.
we're back.
We're back. We're quiet.
And shut up. I'm your host, Patrick William,
I am co-host Austin Jenny.
and we're talking about a glorious movie
Yes, war.
with no glory,
War never changes.
Full Metal Jacket.
Yeah, Stanley Kubrick.
Shout out to our friend and coworker whose birthday it is. Happy birthday, Dan.
Oh, happy birthday,
this
Dan.
movie is for Dan.
I thought you were going to say happy birthday, Stanley Kubrick for a second. I was like, whoa.
I don't know when Stanley's Kubrick's birthday is.
Yeah, me neither.
But on Christmas, we will call it Jesus' birthday.
Dude, yeah, happy birthday, Jesus. Happy birthday to you.
God was here before the Marine Corps, so he may have your heart.
Yes.
But I will have your ass. You belong to me. That whole first act is so ridiculous and such
It
like
is. It's iconic,
funny. Yeah, it's iconic and funny and like everyone knows a quote from that section of the movie.
Oh, definitely, dude. Yeah.
I feel like when people think of Full Metal Jacket, they really think of that first third.
Mm-hmm. That's for sure what comes to my mind. And the second part, to an extent, not the sniper scene.
Yeah. I feel like as the movie drags on, it gets less and less pleasurable to watch, which is
On purpose.
probably
Yeah, for sure.
intentional.
It's not supposed to be like a very happy movie in
Yeah.
any way.
I think it actually really reflects nicely the way in which a naive 18-year-old joining the war would transition from being like an innocent or ignorant young man who's like, I want to just go and get my first kill. I want to be the first boy on the block to get a recognized kill. And like that sort of trigger happy
It's terrifying.
ignorance. And then by the end of the movie, it's like you've got the 1,000-yard stare.
Yeah, for sure. Unlike literally everybody.
Yeah, everybody is fucked up. You're marching around in like a weird, dark, flaming field.
Yeah.
Like it's just
None of that is
you
good.
know, it devolves over the course of the movie, and yeah, I think it's a pretty cool, intentional choice by Kubrick.
Let's get into this plot.
Okay, well, the
Yeah.
plot is like I feel like we can breeze through the plot
For
mostly,
sure.
mostly pretty fast.
Yeah, definitely. Not that much happens.
You've got boot camp, Vietnam War, new fresh recruit of Marines,
Fresh meat.
bunch of 18-year-old boys, and they are just being shaped up and trained to be sent over to Vietnam by
Yeah.
their drill instructor.
Yeah, more so even broken down than
Yeah.
trained up. But yeah.
Yeah, I actually wrote down the boot camp seems like it's mostly obedience training and less about conditioning
Yeah.
and skills training.
Yeah, I mean, a little bit of the physical activity.
Of
and
course,
stuff,
they're doing
but yeah.
running and push-ups and obstacles, but like I think that at least it seems like in the movie, the biggest thing that's happening is they're breaking down the personalities of these boys, creating a uniform like squad. So there's like unit cohesion, and they like get unit cohesion with all the chanting.
Yeah.
I think that's a big part of why they do those silly chants.
Yeah, for sure.
So that everybody is like doing the same thing and you have the same memories when you go to over across the seas. It's like you have these like common burnt in memories,
Yeah, pretty horrible ones, but yeah.
but you're the same. They're trying to make them all the same.
Yeah.
And if you can't get like polished into like the same, you get punished.
Yes, you do. And I mean, they're also trying to make it so if they tell you to go die, you will just go do it.
Yeah,
you
there's
know?
a lot of brainwashing
Yeah,
happening.
for sure.
There's a scene where he's finally getting them into rifle training, and he's talking about famous shooters,
Yeah.
and he's like, what's his name? Like Thomas Whitman,
Whitman or something like that.
the Texas Tower shooter.
Yeah, at
It's
Austin.
like killed 12 people from a 400-yard tower. It's like 12 confirmed kills in under 10 minutes. And he's like really proud of this.
Yeah.
And he's like, Lee Harvey Oswald. He landed 3 hits in 6 seconds.
250 feet on a moving target. Yeah.
1 headshot. He's not saying that as a cautionary thing.
No.
This is a point of pride for
Yes.
this boot camp,
Yes.
like drill
It's like,
instructor.
what do they have in common? they're all Marines.
Yeah,
It's
they were trained to kill in the Marines.
Dude, come on, man.
Yeah, and it's just like such obvious messaging by Kubrick.
Yeah.
And maybe the author of the book, we haven't read the book, but maybe it's in the book. I don't really know. I'll just attribute everything to Kubrick for the rest of the episode and understand it's based on a book.
Yep, it sure is.
But it's such obvious messaging, like, okay, the Marines, and one of the characters says a quotation like right after that scene. He says that it was graduation time and the instructors were proud that we were growing beyond their control. Yeah. So, like, you combine with beyond their control with Lee Harvey Oswald and Whitman, the Texas Tower shooter.
Becoming unhinged.
Yeah, he wants to create killers, murderers, and it's not really possible after you create them to fully control them.
No.
Right? So, like...
How would you?
There's this commentary that sort of seeps through that scene to me about our culture beyond the war. Like, our culture back home, because of war, is more violent and more dangerous because we're creating these murderers.
Yeah.
And then by design, we're losing control of them because he wants free thinking Marines who can go out and kill autonomously in Vietnam.
It's so crazy to do that to people who have been drafted, or even, I guess it's even crazier, people who want to go kill.
A lot of them were volunteers. It was a draft, but it was sort of both.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, a lot of those kids just had no other financial opportunity and just like went to the war because they couldn't go to college.
Yeah. It's fucked up, man. It's a fucked up movie.
Yeah, that scene really, like, it really gives you a lot to think about when you see things happening in our, like, culture today, and then you start to think about the way that our values are, like, reflected overseas. Yeah. And then what we do overseas that comes back home when we're done. And then, like, the post-war eras of American culture. I mean, you see it in a movie like Rambo. Like, that's all about PTSD and trauma. Yeah. But the violence that these people bring back home, that's, like, still in them.
It affects all of us, too. Yeah.
Yeah, it affects everyone.
Everyone, including themselves, of course. But yeah, it's terrifying to think that we're, like, literally training killers, murderers, and then bringing them back to our country and not giving them any help.
Not
zero.
Not.
In fact, like
integrating.
In fact, it's like just like abandonment. Even. Yeah. It's like what the VA does so little. Like, so little for the people who, like, fought to protect our country. Ooh, I probably shouldn't do quotes when I say protect our country.
But yeah, I thought that was one of the more potent parts of that whole like, first act.
Yeah, absolutely.
Was, the parallels to essentially domestic terrorists in America, and pointing out that they were trained in the Marines, and following it up quickly with that quote about how they were proud that we were growing beyond their control and we had graduated.
Yeah.
It's like, great.
Perfect.
This is not good.
Yeah, this is what we need.
Should we talk about the abuse of Private Pyle?
Probably. It's so fucked up, man.
It's, other than what I just mentioned, it's hand in hand with probably the most important aspects of... It's definitely the larger bulk of Act 1.
For sure. It's just the full depersonalization of him. Like, he's not a human to them. He's not a human to himself anymore. He's just literal shit. There's
he has this grin that he can never shake. It's like this silly little half grin. And he's clearly, to some extent, they never go into it, like some extent special needs, or like just slightly... He's a special child, right? Yeah. I don't know what that means exactly, but it's clear he's different. He's got this goofy grin. He's got, like, a very innocent soul.
Especially, in the beginning, for sure. Like, I mean, he literally can't... Looking at the drill instructor from this close, he can't not smile. It's just so crazy.
And when he gets assigned Private Joker to be his, like, mentor, the looks that he's giving him of, like...
of approval.
Yeah, seeking approval. He's, like, copying him, and then he's like... giving him these like sheepish grins.
Yeah.
He's just so innocent and he's trying so hard, but he's fat. He's not good at this. He doesn't have the killer instinct that the drill instructor like demands that he would have.
Yeah, of course not.
And so he doesn't fit in. He ends up taking a lot of abuse, not only from the drill instructor, but also from all of his bunkmates.
Well, yeah, because once he starts fucking up so much that instead of just him being punished, the whole platoon does.
Yeah, he starts punishing everyone else.
Yeah, except him.
Kyle. So then they have to transfer their punishment onto him.
Yeah, that bar of soap scene is still like one of my least favorite scenes haunting. In a movie. The way he cries. Oh,
right.
Oh my God.
The severe pain that he's feeling, and he's completely physically subdued.
Yeah.
There's just no like way to respond to that other than to take the pain.
Yeah, just take it. Like I can't imagine how bad your whole body would hurt.
Mm-hmm. And then it's also an important scene for Private Joker's character because he falls in line. Yeah, he's the one character that's been being nice to Pyle, and he's essentially like the stand-in for the audience, I think, in the movie. You're supposed to relate to him. He's our main character that we follow. And he's like the one person who will speak his mind truthfully to the drill instructor.
Yeah.
So he has an opinion. He's like got real gumption.
Yeah.
But then in this moment, he hesitates. Everyone's beating Pyle, and he hesitates at the end, and the guy's like, "Do it!"
Yeah.
And so then he does it, but then he does it like 5 more times, and they're the hardest hits of anyone.
Yeah, more than how many anyone else hit him too.
Yeah,
you know?
Everyone else hit him once or twice, and he goes in for like 5 hits, and they're like the hardest ones. They're the last hits. So immediately we're presented with this character who is a dichotomy, and he will be a stand-in for like all of the dichotomies that like Kubrick will show us throughout the rest of the movie.
Yeah.
Of which there are many.
Yeah.
So important to sort of like notice that early, I think.
Absolutely. It's interesting how much harder he went to. You know?
Yeah.
Like I just so you think it's just like to like overshow how much he's with everybody else?
I think he's
or is
like
it just to highlight the dichotomy of him.
I think it's like to highlight the dichotomy from a directing perspective, but like character wise, I think that rage is in him. He doesn't want to have to be taking care of Pyle.
Yeah,
he's doing it out of a sense of obligation because it's the right thing to do. And people, I think this is what Kubrick is saying. Like people want to do the right thing, but they will also do the wrong thing. Yeah, and
it's too inconvenient.
It's largely an emotional reaction, and you know, there's not going to be any perfect moral characters in this movie.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The duality of man.
Duality.
Yeah.
Slipknot song.
They stole it from Kubrick.
Yeah, probably.
So, yeah, Pyle breaks. After they beat him, the next scene that we see his face is different.
Oh, entirely different.
He's got the 1,000-yard stare.
Yeah.
And they haven't even been to war yet.
Yeah, he is like, I mean, completely despondent. The first chance they do in the morning, he's not even moving his mouth. He's not even doing it with them.
Right. But he's starting to keep up in the runs.
Yeah.
He is talking to his rifle, which is strange, but he's also like doing the procedures correctly now. So like there's something in there where by breaking his personality and like stripping it away, he's actually a better soldier. Yeah. You know, which is again, it's commentary.
Yeah, of course.
But it takes him being completely depersonalized and broken to effectively become a Marine.
Yeah, for a second.
Yeah. He commits a murder-suicide in a sec, but
yeah. But I mean, yeah,
he's a good Marine for the time being.
It does work.
Right.
Yeah.
Like he's hitting targets with his rifle. The drill instructor's like, I think I finally found something that you're good at.
Yeah, like gives him a compliment for the first time.
It's like turning around for Pyle.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. And he's like looking a little stronger. He's like getting over the obstacles. He's finally like functioning correctly as a soldier.
Yeah, until they graduate.
Yeah. And they don't ever have him explain himself. You just have to interpret it how you interpret it.
Yeah.
My take is that he's not willing to go to Vietnam.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
He knows if boot camp was this bad, and I already feel like this, what am I going to feel like 6 months from now in Vietnam? And
I think it's just that clashing with a full-on mental break of, like, the realization.
Yeah.
You know, because, I mean, yeah, he is clearly in, like, a psychotic state, you know?
Yeah, he is. But also, in a sense, what he says when confronted in the bathroom, it makes me think that he sees things more clearly maybe than, like, everyone around him. The guy Joker, who finds him in the bathroom late at night, loading his Full Metal Jacket, he says, if you don't go back to bed and the drill instructor finds us here, we'll be in a world of shit.
Yeah.
And he says back to him, I am in a world of shit. And then he, kills the instructor and kills himself.
Yeah.
The fact that Joker can't see that.
Yeah. Or is just ignoring it, choosing not to see it. Either one.
Yeah. I think it's Kubrick saying the only way you can get through war is to lie to yourself about what's happening. Yeah. The quality of your life. You have to lie to yourself about what you're doing, about what it means, about what it's for.
Yeah.
And you do see that come back up later, where one of the guys is like, he's like, at least he died for something. And he's like, what'd he die for? He's like, freedom. He's like, if you think this guy died for freedom, like, I got something to tell you. He's like, if we're dying for a word here, I'll die for poontang.
Yeah, dude.
And, like, that character who said that is Animal Mother. He's, like, essentially the polar opposite of Joker.
Yeah.
He's, like, the foil to Joker. There's no dichotomy in that guy. But I think what he says there is true. Like, you got to be an idiot to just like fully believe
to believe the stick, the pitch.
Line that the journalist company
we're doing this for freedom so you can be safe. It's like, no, you don't want to let a communist a communist revolution take over.
One of the guys when they're interviewing him is like the Vietnamese would rather be alive than free. Dumb bastards.
Dude.
It's like you can't be free if you're dead.
Oh my
like the
God.
brainwashing is so full swing that they believe this like hyper patriotic take that like
that's so fucking annoying.
Yeah.
like I just
I feel like that's got to be where. So one thing we saw when we started reading about this movie on the internet is that there are a lot of people who take this to be like a pro-war movie.
Yeah.
There's like a lot of like pro-war Republicans and conservatives that like think they read this as like pro-war.
Yeah, in that sense, yeah.
And it's just blatantly one of the most anti-war movies I've ever seen. Yeah,
pretty much. I mean, but you have to think about it at all.
Right. If you think about it.
If you think about it at all.
If you digest the symbolism that you're seeing.
At all.
Think about the dichotomies that Kubrick is presenting you.
Yeah.
Think about the value statements being presented.
Absolutely.
And who they're being presented by in the context of the movie. Right? Like you shouldn't be
relating with these people.
With Animal Mother.
Like,
he's clearly the psycho warmongerer.
Yeah.
That's supposed to be a foil to our duality of man guy. You're not supposed to be like head over heels in love with killing the Vietnamese. Like,
no. Or like the fucking guy in the chopper who's just killing civilians. Oh,
yeah, door gunner.
Yeah, it's like, and I know that some people out there are like, that would be so much fun.
Yeah, he's
like,
talking about
fuck you.
He's like, if they run, they're VC.
Yeah.
If they don't run, they're well trained VC. I shoot them all.
Dude.
And then they're like, women and children, how do you do that? He's like, just don't lead them as much.
Yeah.
So he's like laughing and joking about shooting women and kids.
Yeah. I mean, like that's just so not there. Like you're not there anymore. You're not necessarily human in my eyes if you're able to laugh about and then do killing of women and children.
And by showing that and not filtering it in any way, like by showing all of these different characters and what they're doing, there's no way you could take Kubrick to be like promoting this behavior.
Like look at this guy. He's having fun.
Isn't this great? Don't you like Door Gunner over here? He's shooting the kids. You just don't lead him as much. Wow.
Yeah.
There's no way that a rational mind like takes this as a pro-war
Yeah.
piece of art. It's just crazy. But if you just watch the scenes like in a brain dead manner,
Yeah.
you could gain like entertainment value and start laughing at these moments and like internalize the propaganda.
Yeah. I think it could be on either conservative and liberal side too, because I am sure there are plenty of people on the left that are like even just consider a war movie, like a movie that shows war as a pro-war movie, no matter what.
No nuance, like
nothing. Yeah, literally. I mean, I know that those people are out there.
Like we can't show it.
We can't show it.
Promotes violence.
Yeah, you're platforming war.
God,
dude, it's like okay.
You know what platforms war?
What
war?
Yeah, isn't that crazy how that works? And
the
money.
Military budget.
Yeah, the Pentagon.
The DoD. Not cinema.
Seriously, man. Oh, God. I mean, so that really takes us through all of the first act.
Yeah, and we've already started discussing a bit of the second act.
Yeah.
But second act, we get...
Vietnam.
Our main character, Joker, has been assigned to the journalism division, so he's going to be a war journalist.
Yep, he's in Da Nang.
And he works for, like... What is the newspaper
Stars
called?
and Stripes.
Stars and Stripes.
Stars and Stripes.
It's the U.S. Army's like propaganda machine.
Yeah.
He has this like commanding officer who's like the editor of their newspaper. He keeps reading their articles and then just changing the language to make it more
softer. It's all soft.
Yeah, more acceptable to the public.
Yeah.
And more inspirational to the soldiers, because the soldiers on the ground read it first.
Yeah.
And then it also goes home to the people. So it's like, instead of search and destroy, we're going with sweep and clear.
Sweep and clear.
Sweep and clear.
But make sure you have a kill on each one of your stories.
Yeah, he's like, Joker, I think you forgot something at the end of your article. The kill.
Yeah.
He's like, well, I didn't see a kill, sir.
Like, well, you saw a blood trail or something, right?
Well, there was a kill. He's like, we're going to find a kill, right? Tell me about
this. There's a kill. Yeah.
So, yeah, the whole journalist like apparatus there is about propaganda. It's about controlling the narrative, keeping morale up, keeping people on the same team.
And they even acknowledge that it's an unliked war. It's like, yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a war. Most normal people don't like any war.
Joker, do you know how unpopular this war is? We need people on the team.
Yeah, let's change some minds, dude.
So they're literally just like making stuff up and lying in their newspaper to try to change the shape of the war.
Yeah.
And that certainly happened, and certainly still happens
to this day, right now,
domestically as well. Like so many narratives that
you
are
don't
spun
think that
to
there's
us.
Fucking American propaganda machines in U.S. culture? Fuck you.
Like, yeah. In many ways, like the last 3 presidential elections have just been completely media based.
Yeah, 100%.
It's just this team versus that team, and no one on either team is like
since Obama.
Yeah,
yeah,
it's crazy.
Goddamn internet, dude.
Kubrick's really laying it out.
Yeah,
pretty clear here. Just showing you what they do.
Yeah,
I'm sure the Army didn't appreciate that at the time.
Oh man, I'm sure. I'm surprised with the drill instructor.
Yeah,
him being a real drill instructor. He's probably just there for the check. I don't know.
Well, I think a lot of people, you certainly get both types who let's use the word, graduate from the military.
Yeah.
You certainly get both types. Some who support till the day they die.
Yeah.
And then some who, they see the truth over there, and then they come back. They're like, let me tell you something.
Yeah, I guess that's, I mean, he's working on this set, so obviously he was probably a pretty...
He was also...
he was woke.
We saw he was a technical consultant for Apocalypse Now before this movie. Which is very cool, and that's actually why Kubrick found him.
Yeah.
And then when he saw him, like...
berating people.
He was, like, doing this bit with the extras on the scene, and Kubrick, like, changed his role from being a consultant to being in the movie.
Yeah.
And he said that 50% or more of the dialogue in the movie is, like, just his
Just
stuff.
Him off the cuff, dude. Yeah. That's crazy.
He's so good at that.
Yeah, he really is. He was meant to do that.
Yeah, so. He was born to kill.
If we didn't have a military, then what would that guy do with his life? This is all for him.
The big picture. Arlie Ermy crushes this role. It's probably the most iconic role of his career. It's one of the most iconic military portrayals, I would say, in any American war movie.
Yeah.
The Full Metal Jacket drill instructor guy. Like,
yeah, I would say so.
That's like a...
Like, I mean, what's more recognizable like that, you know?
Bullshit! I didn't know they stacked shit that high. Like, you could suck a golf ball through a garden hose. Like, nothing's more recognizable than that. It might be the number one spot.
Yeah, I think you probably
I'm like literally trying to think of other things, blanking. I'm like, what? Tom Hanks from Saving Private Ryan?
I still haven't seen it.
We're going to watch that.
It's on the list. It's actually, I think it's pretty
You'll see
soon.
it this year.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I've watched a lot of movies.
A lot of good movies, yeah. Just not the ones you want me to watch. You'd better fall in line or I'm going to beat you with soap.
Dude, I will not. I am a reckless man.
Casual racism.
Yeah, so it's just ever present.
It's crazy.
Every fucking line.
This is taking place in 1969.
Yeah.
So obviously different time.
Very different
This is right on the heels of the civil rights movement.
Yeah.
So 10 years prior, like all these kids were growing up in a world where black people couldn't vote.
Yeah. Literally like 10 years ago. That's so crazy to think about.
They would have been 8 years old and then see the entire civil rights movement happen and then go to Vietnam.
So this is just a bunch of kids with their parents' opinions.
Yeah.
Like, that's it.
That's the baggage they're taking.
Yeah.
The irony, or I guess dichotomy that we see again is that no matter how racist these guys are to each other, they're never actually antagonizing each other in a real way, and they're never actually getting upset at each other over it.
Ever once.
Never.
I mean, just even with like the really bad one with fucking...
We're dropping hard R N-words.
All the time. All sorts of crazy off-brand fucking
he's
slurs,
saying like,
dude.
And all N-words should hang.
Yeah.
And then taking the prostitute.
That one was crazy,
and
man.
It's like...
I was like, oh.
There's clearly like a lot of sarcasm in that because you're saying it to a man that you're fighting with. He's like your compatriot. Like, these are all brothers. And so they're like being extremely racist to each other, but in a way that like everyone understands that it's not real.
I think that one was.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, you can't tell what percentage of it is real and what percentage is sarcasm. Yeah. It's never one or the other. It's always like, okay, we live in a world where black people are this and white people are this. And so they keep bringing it up. Yeah. And so it's like, is that just them being class conscious and laughing about it? Or is there real animosity and they're tucked away and they're not like willing to address it?
I honestly think it's it's just a honeypot of all of that. You know, I mean, I assume that some of them probably do hold forms of prejudice. I mean, like, I definitely think his name's Animal Mother, right? Yeah. Yeah. Animal Mother. What the fuck? Why is his name Animal Mother? But
I don't know.
He, in my eyes, is certainly like full blown. I felt like that was not sarcasm at all.
I got sarcasm from that person.
Really?
Yeah, I did.
Really?
Because it's so direct. I think if you're like he almost says it like I don't know. There's just like no way to say that sincerely, and I didn't get sincerity from it in the scene.
Huh? That's interesting. That's just
not what I read from it.
Totally did. That's wild. Yeah.
I got it more like, okay, so maybe like you have a tall guy and a short guy, and the short guy is like trying to reach for something on the high shelf, and the tall guy is like, you don't deserve this, and takes it and walks away. That's the energy I got from it. Yeah. Where it's like, you're being so rude about it that it's like, it has to be a joke. And I think you should watch it again and look at their actual faces, the smiles and smirks, and then listen to the actual tone and like the groans from the rest of like, oh, here we go again. Yeah. I think this is something they've all been saying to each other for the last 12 months.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's probably right. Because he didn't, like... Yeah, he just doesn't, like, act on it or anything. It's just such a crazy fucking thing to say. It's like, how could you say that without the meaning?
Because we grew up in the era that we grew up in.
Yeah, that's just hard.
Like, saying the N-word at all for white people is, like, completely unacceptable.
Yeah.
in our culture today.
Yeah, 100%.
But it's just, like, not the case that was always a given.
Yeah.
And it's, like, if it's not the case that it's a given, that means it's, like, acceptable to some
like,
degree
to
say it.
To joke
like,
around
at any time.
with, too, and all that shit.
Like, there was a world in the 60s and 70s and even up into the 80s.
And today's. Just some fucking folks, you know?
Well, I mean, people will say it, but it's not acceptable.
Yeah.
You know
yeah. That's the level.
There's a world in a recent American history where it was like no one would actually like reel from that. It doesn't have the same.
That's so crazy.
Connotations. I mean, it does mean the same thing, but like the culture didn't react the same way to it.
Yeah.
They're just like, yeah, he's an N-word. And then
Fucking
the black
crazy.
guy's like, yeah.
I know. It's like, what the hell, man? Ugh.
They're like right on the heels of the civil rights movement. It's like so crazy that you would say that, but I don't know. I just got like, it's of course dark comedy.
Of course.
It's like really sarcastic but you see it so many scenes. Mm-hmm. All these guys, not only to the black guys, but like every race, every
and
it's
like
gay
Italian,
stuff, it's Italian stuff,
yeah.
Mexicans. And God, don't even get started on the Vietnamese.
Oh, of course. Well, I mean, that's just a whole nother thing. That's for real.
Yeah,
that's all real.
The thing with the Vietnamese is that they have to depersonalize them.
Yeah, you can't
to kill them.
Yeah, for sure. Oh God,
it's interesting how like you can say racist things to a friend and then fight with them, and then say racist things about your enemy as a means of killing them. And you're essentially saying the same things.
Yeah, but
then the impact is the complete opposite.
Yeah, I mean, it's just all about, tone, too, like the way that you say it. Huh.
I thought that was a real jarring aspect of the movie for people from our generation and younger.
Oh, yeah, dude. If someone who's like 20 right now and never seen this, they'll be like, oh.
Yeah, it's a time capsule, man.
Yeah, seriously.
That's part of why I think these types of movies are important. You referenced the idea that like, the bleeding heart liberals of our culture would like not want to show this type of stuff.
Yeah. And
I think the truth is it's extremely important to show this type of stuff.
Absolutely. I mean, of course this sort of media should be.
It's history.
It's history. Yeah.
If you don't know your history, you don't know shit.
Yeah. No, there should be no censorship of anything like that.
Right.
That's not the way that you progress through a problem.
It's wild.
Yeah, I know.
I think getting into the sniper scene, there was a really crazy sort of like full circle aspect to that. The fact that she's a woman, and the one guy is like shooting women and children in the beginning indiscriminately.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the movie, their platoon is being sniped and taken down one by one by a woman.
A young woman. I mean, essentially like a child.
Almost a woman child. Like a combination of the things that they were laughing about killing earlier. Yeah. The people that you're not supposed to be targeting. And because they've been targeting them, they're now being targeted by them. I thought it was like a very poetic, like full circle moment. Yeah. And it seemed kind of like a metaphor for the whole war. Yeah. You had these like...
Dude, it's the whole squad. Like so many people with so many guns shooting it, lighting up whole fucking architecture to attack this one woman with a sniper.
There's one person taking on like 18. They're shooting rockets, multiple machine guns. Everything. The whole facade of the building is like exploding. Yeah. And then...
It's the definition of like overkill.
Overkill. And then they stop, and then someone goes out and creeps out, gets shot. And the disproportionality of the force that the U.S. military was wielding versus the Vietnamese military.
Yeah.
And yet we still lost the war, and the Vietnamese like held their own.
I know.
Right? I mean, that sniper scene has to just be the whole war.
Yeah. I mean, that's how it absolutely is, I think. I think it is a direct representation of it. But, I mean, that's just how the U.S. military operates basically every single time since World War II. It's just overwhelm entirely in every single way. That's why we spend $1 trillion a year on it.
Yeah.
You know?
For real.
Ugh. It grinds my gears, man. I really don't like how much money we spend on the military.
No, you shouldn't. You're right. Yeah. You're right to feel this way.
I know.
But you're not a patriot, and you're going to be grounded down.
I'm somewhat patriotic. A little.
Not according to this movie.
Yeah, you're right.
If Arlie Army got his hands on you, you're going to never make it through.
You are correct. I won't make it through boot camp. You're right.
So our guy Joker, the duality of man, after they like shoot and capture the sniper, she's not dead. She's just wounded.
Yeah.
And everyone's just going to leave her.
Yeah, that's a bummer.
And Joker's like, we can't leave her like this. I don't think he knows what he wants to do exactly. But he knows that this isn't right. And so then the guy's like, look, if you want to waste her, waste her. I'm walking away. I'm not wasting the bullets. And so then Joker, this...
Coming from that guy.
Right. He just shot like so
800 fucking giant M2 rounds or some shit, dude.
But this guy Joker, it's got lines in the movie earlier where he's talking about how he just wanted to be the first guy from his block to get a confirmed kill. He wants to go in and get some action, get in the shit, get his 1,000-yard stare. He's like, just put me in there. And it's all this like fake bravado.
Yeah, entirely.
Because I'm
a killer.
The second he gets an actual sight on the shooter, he freezes up. Like his gun jams and he can't resolve it. He like freaks out and drops the gun. And then he pulls his pistol. He's like literally shaking. And the other guy has to kill her. This is before they're going to put her down. But he can't. Like in the moment that he's been begging for this whole time, he like can't execute.
Yeah, of course.
And then
it's so much. I'm sure it's so much harder.
Yeah, exactly.
You could possibly imagine, unless you're a detached psychopath.
Yeah. Again, it's Kubrick showing you the dichotomy of like the naivete of an 18-year-old American boy thinking they're going to go to war and get glory, and then getting there and not being able to pull the trigger.
Yeah, until she's lying on the ground suffering.
Yeah.
And so then his only confirmed kill is
it's a mercy kill on a woman.
Oh my God.
And the camera pans up from her to him and you see that now he has his 1,000-yard stare. He earned his stare. And he is like horrified.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't kill women and children, let alone anyone, unless you have to. It's like, what?
Yeah.
Ugh.
He looks a lot like Private Pyle did before he did his murder-suicide. It's like the same look, kind of. It's like this downward angle with his eyes looking up. It's that like famous Kubrick. They do it in Clockwork Orange, too.
Yeah, definitely. Shining a little, too, right?
Yeah.
Is that like, Kubrick?
Yeah.
Yeah, nice.
The downward light, and then it like hits your brow and creates like shadow, and then you look up, and it's like this really ominous.
Those guys with their canes.
Yeah.
It's such a weird movie. I haven't seen that since I was a kid, and I didn't get it.
Yeah. We should watch that.
Yeah, we should, for
I
sure.
was chatting with Dylan about that a couple weeks ago, and he's like, oh, yeah, the rape movie?
Yeah, it's...
And I was like, yeah, like there's a rape in the movie for sure, but like to call it the rape movie is like so dismissive.
Yeah, it is.
But
hey.
Yeah, there's a rape that occurs and like some sexual assault and a bunch of other crimes. But that's because you needed a character who's bad and committing crimes to then go to jail and then get brainwashed to like do the plot.
Yeah, for sure.
So you got to set him up to be bad and then show the message at the end. It's really about brainwashing.
Hey,
propaganda.
So is this.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Speaking of brainwashing, the Mickey Mouse Club chant at the very end.
Clubhouse.
They're like MICKEYMOUSE.
Yeah.
The final shot of the movie after the Mercy killing is all the soldiers like moving out. It's dark. They're all just silhouettes with guns, so no faces, no identifying features, right? It's just showing like the machine, like the war
literally
machine.
The war machine. Yeah.
And they're just walking across like a burning field with their guns. And yeah, they're chanting the Mickey Mouse Club theme song in like a militaristic style.
Yeah.
And it's interesting. It's like hard to understand at first. Like, what the fuck does this mean?
Yeah, especially just like right after the sniper scene. You're just not really prepared for it.
Yeah, it feels like inappropriately light, like comedic.
Yeah.
And this is like the 80th time I've used the word, but
the dichotomy.
It's dichotomy. It's Stanley Kubrick telling you that war is both things. It's like a bunch of kids playing cowboys and Indians, and it's also hell.
Yeah.
And,
it sure fucking is. It is.
It's like a really good metaphor for the whole situation. It's just a bunch of teenagers shouting the Mickey Mouse Club with rifles, and they're killing, they're getting killed. They're not handling it well.
No.
And then they're joking about sex and getting prostitutes, and it's like...
one thing that you brought up was when, like, the disconnect of going over there back then. Because we didn't have the internet. We didn't have such a connected world.
Yeah.
And so, like, it's literally you're detaching yourself entirely. You're not in America. You're not at home. So you can go do whatever the fuck you want over there. Yeah. And that's a horrifying thought.
One of the characters says something that it's what made me realize that was going on. But they said something like, when we go back to the real world, is how he put it.
Oh, God, dude.
Things will be different. We won't have anyone to kill.
Yeah. And he's bummed out about that.
Yeah, he's saying he's thankful for the Vietnamese. Yeah. Because now he has someone to kill. And when we go back to the real world, we won't.
It's a psychopath.
It is psychopathic.
Yeah.
But yeah, the underlying like idea there is that these kids are so far from home.
Yeah.
In a foreign land, a foreign culture, the language they don't speak. To them, it is not real. It's not a real place. Yeah. It's like not connected to their world.
Yeah.
They don't have a global perspective. And they're just in like a cartoon world. That's like the Mickey Mouse thing.
That's
it's like
so crazy.
It's like this isn't even real. This is a fictional fantasy land.
Yeah. We're going to come over and kill people and then leave.
And if you die, you live forever through the Marine Corps.
Dude.
It's like so delusional.
It really is. I just don't actually fathom. I don't have the mind for it. I just wouldn't stand for that.
Yeah.
Like if I were to try and go to the military, I would just end up being kicked out because I wouldn't be able to take shit like that. There's no way.
We're too old at this point, I think.
I guess they need a moldable mind, huh?
That's why they're recruiting 18-year-olds.
It's disgusting.
And you got to be like poor 18-year-olds, so you have no options.
Yeah.
Right? So like you're going to the military because you didn't get into college, and then you're just kind of ignorant, and they just like break you down, mold you into a killer, send you over to commit war crimes, and then when you get back, you're on your own. Thanks for your service. How is that a pro-war movie? Seriously, people.
I would imagine that a lot of the people, either like you said, are just stupid. They
don't know how to read.
They don't know how to read. They think that this is all very, very cool. It's not cool. Or they just haven't actually watched the movie and they're giving their judgment anyways.
It's just like a super thin perspective based on like the pop culture of it. The drill instructor.
Me love you long time.
Me so horny.
Yeah.
You can have everything.
Everything.
See? That's not racist. That's a real character.
It is quotes.
Yeah.
Literally.
This probably isn't the movie to bring it up, but I do want to have that talk on the pod.
Yeah.
When is it racist to do an accent? Because this is not the case.
This is not the time.
That's exactly what she sounds like. She's like, ooh, You want a good time? You like to party with me?
With me? I love you too long.
I love you too long. Yeah. Too good. Like, it's so funny.
It is.
I mean, this movie is entertaining most of the time, or at least 50% of the time.
Yeah,
there's good music.
Yeah.
There's a lot of laughs. Mm-hmm. So if you're just sort of skimming through it, a little stoned or like not paying attention,
yeah,
I could see maybe thinking that like the movie is being lighthearted about war.
Yeah.
The truth is it's not, and you're just not paying attention.
Yes, or you don't know how to process symbolism.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe you should get that checked out. Oh, shit.
I'm trying to rack my brain. There was something else I wanted to talk about, speaking of symbolism. John Wayne.
Yeah.
They quote him a lot.
Yeah,
in
too
this
much.
movie, specifically Joker. Mm-hmm. And I think that's because John Wayne was a fake tough guy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
What was his real name?
I don't fucking know.
It's not John Wayne. It's like a pretty feminine name.
Oh, really?
For real, yeah. His real name is like not like the manly man name.
Quincy?
Something like that. It's like Martha.
That would be crazy, dude. Oh, yeah.
But like John Wayne is an actor, right? Mm-hmm. He's just a big guy playing costumes.
Yeah.
He's portraying a tough guy, and he's not. He's just a soft actor named Martha. Mm-hmm.
I really like that.
That's what the Joker character like is basically, and he's confronted with Animal Mother.
Yeah, man, that guy would tear him in half.
Is the real deal, and then he's quoting John Wayne to Animal Mother, and like the symbolism is so clear in that moment. And Animal Lover's helmet says, "I am become death," which is an Oppenheimer quote.
Yeah, destroyer of worlds.
Yeah, and of course, he would quote Oppenheimer, the father of the nuclear era, like indirectly responsible for like probably the most single like amount of deaths from a single attack like ever.
Yeah, from an attack, right? Yes.
Like the nuclear bombs, like
yeah.
He's got the highest kill count.
The only other guy that I can think of that comes to mind like that is the Hopper dude.
Who's Hopper?
Hopper's the guy who invented like the nitrogen, like a way to extract more nitrogen and put it either into your plants or into the ground or something. He directly
fertilizer?
Yeah, but yes, something to do with fertilizer and nitrogen. He created eventually, because of that, so many bombs, but also fed so many people. It's just interesting.
Oh yeah, I remember reading about trying to balance his kills and saves.
Yeah, I know. And it's like he won a Nobel Prize, and I think that he also like was like tried for something. I don't know. It's a lot, but yeah, crazy, man.
Animal Mother quotes Oppenheimer, and Joker quotes John Wayne, and that tells you everything you need to know about the two types of people in a war. Right?
For sure.
There's fake tough guys, and then there's like killer psychopaths.
Yeah.
And they're all in there together.
They are. And they all do all sorts of very fun things.
They're all reading the same newspapers.
Same propaganda. I mean, it's just so crazy that you'd ever sign up for something where you don't have any autonomy anymore.
Yeah, like literally signing your life away is...
Like, actually. Like for 4 years minimum, you are now their property.
Yeah, property of the U.S. Marine Corps.
Yeah. Yeah, fuck that.
He says to him, he's like... Marines don't have permission to die.
Yeah.
Or like Marines aren't allowed to die without permission.
Yeah, which is fucking...
It's a gnarly way of putting it. Like,
yeah.
You better go over there and kill, because if you die, I'm going to be pissed at you. Dude, what do you mean, dude?
Yeah.
Because you're expensive and you belong to the Marine Corps. We've invested a lot of money breaking you down.
Yeah, man, the military-industrial complex is really terrifying. I really wish that it did not exist.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just overall.
I think there's a quote that seems appropriate from Kubrick that we read. He said that it was not a pro-war movie. It was not an anti-war movie. It's just the way it is. He thinks it's a very like objective, measured take on it.
It's like, this is the reality of this, of what we're doing. This is it.
And I kind of feel the same way about the military industrial complex. I don't like it. I don't want to fund it with my taxes. If you let me control the policy, I'd do a different policy.
Yeah, definitely.
At the same time, if we didn't have it, we probably wouldn't exist. And
I don't know about that.
Yeah, we would have lost World War II.
Well, yeah, but
Europe
World War II is when it took off.
Yeah, we created it for World War II.
Yeah, I mean, we should have disbanded it immediately after.
But the entire global stability of all world trade is based on the projection of power of the United States and Europe's military complexes.
That sucks.
The whole world system
yeah.
that we're a part of is based on. I mean, we are going into World War III, so the word doesn't seem appropriate anymore, but it's based on the peace that
trade route peace and all that.
Yeah, that followed World War II. That was only
I mean, it was peace. That. It was just
it was the absence of direct fighting.
Well, I mean, but it was just the fighting became we got to do it wherever we want. Yeah. You know, we put everyone else in timeout and said we get to be the only imperial player on the board. Yeah. Which is crazy to me. That I think we should have just maintain peace, cool, but we didn't need to be an imperialistic state. We didn't need to be fucking going and dealing with Korea or Vietnam or fucking any of those places. I don't know.
I agree. But rough. Again, it's just one of those things where we were only over there because Russia was over there. Yeah. And they were the other superpower. And so you just have this yin-yang effect of okay, well, Russia's exerting influence on northern Vietnam to make them a communist state. Now we have to exert the equal and opposite influence on southern Vietnam to halt the move of communism. And I'm not really an anti-communist.
That's personally. Kind of my problem. It's I just think that we should have just let them become communists. Yeah. You know, fuck off. Let them do what they want until they're directly affecting what we are. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess part of the politics of the situation is that that's not what they wanted.
No, I know.
It's not what all of them wanted.
What, the
Vietnamese?
Well, yeah, of course.
That's the whole point. They were having their own civil war because of Russia's meddling with northern Vietnam, taking over as a communist power. And then the southern, technically we were fighting with the southern Vietnamese army.
Technically, I bet we were killing so many of them too.
And there's a point in the movie where one of the characters we're fighting the wrong Vietnamese. They're not even grateful. You know, they'd rather be alive than free, the dumb motherfuckers. And so he's saying that they don't have the same patriotic spirit to fight that the Americans do, and it's not even the Americans' fight. Yeah. Which just goes to show the brainwashing level that they're under. But I mean, just saying let Russia do anything that it wants to do doesn't make it a less fucked up situation for the Vietnamese.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know. I'm overall I am for sure more
anti-war for
anti-war. Sure. So it's I don't like helping wars in any capacity. And I get that it's important to do to stop a bigger threat eventually. It's just
I think about something that
I don't know.
Honestly, it's he's saying it from the wrong side, but this quote has rung with me from Narcos. Escobar. There's a quote that he says, "The war is for the peace." And that is literally true in the case of Ukraine. Yeah. You have an aggressor nation coming in to a peaceful nation and taking their shit and killing their civilians. Yeah. So when they start fighting back and we start supporting them fighting back, to me, that is not pro-war. That's actually an anti-war position. Yeah. If we allow Russia to steamroll Ukraine, that is a pro-war position.
It is. It is. It's an anti-us involved position.
Right. But if you know something is happening and you do nothing about it, in moral philosophy, there is no such thing as inaction. Yeah. You can't not participate because your lack of participation is a tacit endorsement of the opposite of what you would have done. So If you want to sit back at home and allow some country to get taken, that's a political position.
Yeah.
And for me, that's a pro-war political position.
That's crazy.
Yeah. But the war is for the peace. If Russia wants to stop killing Ukrainians, the war would end tomorrow. It's not the Ukrainians causing the war.
Of course not. Of course not.
And letting them die, for me, is not an option. Like, that's my position on that war in particular. But that kind of, like, that philosophy for me extends to, like, all hypothetical conflicts.
Yeah. It's weird. For some reason, I don't know why, but it's just the Ukraine and Russia one is just stickier for me. But I understand your points fully.
Well, it's very far from home.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, like so is the thing. Israel and Gaza one, and I fully do not support Israel in any way. I think it's fucking insane that we're giving them any money at all.
Me too.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we're doing the same thing with Israel that we're doing with Ukraine, but
we're just doing genocide.
Side.
Yeah, we are Russia on that side.
It's the dichotomy striking back.
Yeah, well,
like, how can we be supporting a defensive war and an offensive genocide?
Yeah.
At the same fucking time.
An expansionist genocide. Like they're not even just sticking to Israel anymore. They've taken parts of Lebanon, Syria. They're not going to stop.
Yeah, it just goes to show that, like, the Department of Defense and the military-industrial complex does not think of things in moral terms. That's not what they're doing.
Yeah, that's also part of the problem. I don't think that the U.S. government cares about Ukrainian lives at all. Literally zero. I think they only care about stopping Russia, hurting Russia, and they're just using Ukraine to be fully fucked. They don't care. They're not going to save Ukraine. I guess they're going to weaken Russia.
It's hard for me to separate the broad geopolitical strategic goals from the lives that would be affected by those goals. So, like, Ukraine was trying to join NATO.
Yeah.
And the EU.
Yeah.
That's what essentially, like, I don't believe it, but forced his hand, Putin, to, like, invade Ukraine because NATO can't accept members who are at war. Mm-hmm. So he's, like, stopping the deal because he believes it's like a NATO expansion thing.
I mean, I don't.
The point is not whether you agree with NATO, but, like, saying that the defending Ukraine is not about Ukrainian lives. Yeah, it might be true in a literal sense if you're only looking at it from a war game. Like, if you're playing the risk game, you're moving troops around, which I think it's not about the Ukrainian lives, but the whole issue is because Ukrainian lives are being improved by their relationship with NATO. Yeah, it is ultimately coming back to the value of these people and what they want. They want something that Putin doesn't want them to want. And he's killing them for that. Yeah. You can't separate the strategic goals from
they do. I believe they do. I think the American people care plenty about Ukrainian lives. I just don't. Our fucking government doesn't care about us. Why would they give a shit about Ukrainian lives?
Right.
It's like.
Yeah, I guess it's just. We're going to run out of time here, but first of all, there is no such thing as the government. There's over 300,000 federal employees.
I know.
What you mean is, like, Donald Trump and Donald Rumsfeld, like, these particular
DOJ,
individuals,
Pentagon,
they don't care about me because I'm nobody. Yeah. But I do think that, like, the overall system of our government that, like, gives us services, etc., like, in its ideal form, like, clearly it does care about us.
Well, of course.
It's not doing a good job right now. Yes. But that's a separate issue. Like, how it's doing is a separate issue from, like, what it's doing. Yeah. I don't think it's performing well right now.
What? Are you sure?
But, like, I just don't think it's fair to be too
I was too
heavy-handed on it.
I was certainly too broad when I say the government. I mean the war machine plus a lot of our Congress.
for sure.
You know, not like, obviously not like service workers and stuff like that, you know.
Yeah.
No, people working parks and rec. Those people care deeply. People who are like, you know, working in welfare, care about Medicaid, all that stuff. Obviously they care about us. It's just, it's crazy how little it seems they like to care about, like the actual homelessness problem, you know, or the fentanyl problem. They just don't care where it's being hurt the most.
Yeah. I don't think they even can because, like, lobbyists.
Yeah, I know.
They're not allowed to do the things that need to be done.
That makes me insane.
Yes.
It makes me rage, dude.
But that's not connected to Ukraine.
Yes, it's also not connected to Full Metal Jacket, but it is.
But war is. Yeah. But I would vote today for more money to go to Ukraine.
Yeah.
I would. The Ukrainians deserve to just exist and not be killed by Russia. And we have the money to, and we have the tanks and shit. Like, give them the planes, like, give them the tanks. We have the whole continent here. We're not in a war.
Yeah.
We don't need this stuff. Just give it to the people that need it. Like, it's fucked up. Like, allowing people to get steamrolled by your enemies is just like being on the side of your enemies.
Yeah.
I can't vibe with it. And I really don't want Israel to get any more money from us, dude. That's such a problem.
Is such a huge problem, and Trump's totally gonna just keep giving him money. I mean, of course.
The problem is that, like, the DOD looks at this whole conflict non-morally, just in terms of strategic operations. So, like, Israel is a strategically valuable forward operating base for us in the Middle East.
Yeah, it's one of our hugest partners.
So no matter what they do, we need them if we're going to exert influence over Iran and Iraq and Turkey and etc. You know, it's just such a fucked up way of doing business. It's fully, at that point, it's just fully evil. And it's so hard to reconcile, like, that taking place, like, with what I see as a just war in Ukraine.
Yeah.
And it's the same machine doing, like, both things.
I don't know. Okay, well, I guess I would say, like, sure, if we want to support Ukraine, we should go support Ukraine. I think we should,
with our troops?
Yes. I don't think Russia's going to nuke us.
No, me neither.
I don't think that nukes are going to drop. Realistically, it's just such a waste. Unless you have some outlier who, like, steals one terrorist plot, something like that.
Yeah, I mean, the thing that sucks is that, like, all the leaders are pussyfooting around this, just like pre-World War II. Like, they're, like, appeasing Hitler. Like, maybe if we just went over there.
Yeah, and talk to Putin.
Start fighting. Like, the thing is that what cascades is you trigger Article 5. So every single NATO country has to get involved right away.
Yeah.
And it becomes instantaneously a full world war.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I think that's happening anyways, just very slowly.
I know.
I kind of want to rip the Band-Aid.
I kind of agree. Because okay, so yeah, my biggest problem is that we're using Israel as a proxy against Russia. Not Israel, sorry, Ukraine. That's just how it feels to me.
Okay.
Because, I mean, I get we're still supporting them, and I agree with that. I think it is the right moral decision to do so. But don't fucking just, like, you can fire these missiles now. And now you can fire these ones.
Yeah,
like,
the
help
hamstringing
them.
of
help
it
them.
is pathetic.
Yeah, it's just like, why? This is a 3-year war. You guys could have gone over and ended it in 2 months. Like, that's what really grinds my gears about it.
I don't like the, like, cowardly approach of, like, not wanting to poke the bear.
Yeah,
and,
it's like
maybe if we just it's like, do you see what Putin is doing?
Yeah, and you are poking the bear. You would, like, just commit either.
Just fully stab the fucking bear. Like, let's go, man.
Yeah, I know, but it's also I'm anti-war, so it's like, I don't know what I want.
The war is for the peace. I'm the dude that would have the peace sign on my jacket and then not be able to pull the trigger.
Yeah.
That's me for sure.
Jesus, man. Well, that went somewhere.
This movie is provocative.
Certainly.
It's biting.
It's like a solid 8.7 for me.
Yeah. I want to give it like a 9 in terms of achieving its goals and becoming like an iconic anti-war movie.
Yeah.
And I want to give it like a 7.5 in terms of being like a pleasurable watch.
It's not very pleasurable to watch.
And it's not supposed. That's why it's not very entertaining. Supposed to be.
Yeah, it's just like
the first third is entertaining, and then it just becomes like harder and harder, and like less entertaining, less glamour, less glory.
Yeah.
More pain.
But it is a good movie.
It's a great movie.
Yeah, it's a really good movie, and it makes you think.
It'll get you into a debate.
Yeah, no shit.
About the value of war machines and our role within them.
Yep.
Speaking of our roles within machines, please like and subscribe.
Ooh, smash that bell.
Leave us a comment. Tell us which war you want to be a part of next.
What was your favorite war? Oh, shit.
Yeah, let us know, people. Thanks for watching to the end.
Yeah, and thanks for being quiet
in the back. Shh.
Welcome to the jungle. This world isn't real. Everything is disconnected except you and your steel. Viet Cong and Uncle Sam will have to make a deal. So you are now a murder bot, extort, destroy, and kill. Here in the Marine Corps, you've been bought and sold. You belong to Uncle Sam, worth your weight in gold. Rumors go around and I don't know, but I've been told Eskimo pussy is mighty cold. Mighty cold. Welcome to the jungle. Everything will burn. We control the media. The truth will not be learned. If you shoot the women, then the women shoot you back. It only takes one sniper to stop a nation in its tracks. Here in the Marine Corps, you've been bought and sold. You belong to Uncle Sam, worth your weight in gold. Rumors go around and I don't know, but I've been told Eskimo pussy is mighty cold. Mighty cold. Welcome to the jungle. Joker is the man you know. He represents a noble heart and how low it can go. Animal mother, the psycho, committed to the act. Once you kill the children, then there is no coming back. Here in the Marine Corps, you've been bought and sold. You belong to Uncle Sam, worth your weight in gold. Rumors go around and I don't know, but I've been told Eskimo pussy is mighty cold. Here in the Marine Corps, you've been bought and sold. You belong to Uncle Sam, worth your weight in gold. Rumors go around and I don't know, but I've been told Eskimo pussy is mighty cold. Mighty cold. Eskimo pussy is mighty cold. Eskimo pussy is mighty cold. Welcome to the jungle. Joker is the man you know. He represents a noble heart and how low it can go. Animal mother, the psycho, committed to the act. Once you kill the children, then there is no coming back.